right on time.
Calling all barrier breakers, status quo smashers, world changers. You're not just driven, you're data-driven. You know that traditional business is history, and that data-centric organizations decide the future. You have the vision and guts to make digital transformation happen. You understand that data is the lifeblood of your business, and that it becomes more powerful when you tear down walls and unify data across silos and clouds. You aim to push customer touchpoints to the farthest reaches, inspire global teams to innovate, and discover opportunity wherever it exists. There's one company who can help you make it all possible. NetApp has a whole new approach to data, so you can align your resources, unleash your data's full potential, and realize your vision. Data visionaries wanted.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome NetApp Executive Vice President, Products and Operations, Joel Reich.
Good morning. Before we begin, we have a little bit of housekeeping to do. So we've added some sessions. Those are a reschedule of some popular Mondays sessions, and they're now scheduled for today at 12:45. We've also canceled some sessions. Don't have to write them down here. All this information is in your mobile app. So look at your mobile app and figure out what your plan is for the rest of the day. So life used to seem so simple. I remember when there were 5 TV channels, 3 flavors of ice cream. Coffee came with cream and without. Insight was held in a decommissioned lab named the Fortress of Solitude in Sunnyvale. And our competitive world was a 2-horse race. Now there are 300 channels and still nothing to watch, or 3,000 channels. There's this thing called dairy-free ice cream. Coffee is something like a pumpkin spice double macchiato latte with almond milk and agave syrup. And Insight is in Las Vegas with thousands of customers and thousands of partners. And the 2-horse race is more like the running of the bulls in Pamplona. Life is no longer simple. Now, you could come up with ways of simplifying your personal life. The only person you have to consult with is yourself, or in my case, my wife. But that's not how it is in business, especially in IT. I can remember when a NetApp customer meeting was also very simple. I remember a sales call where we went into Blockbuster Video's headquarters in Florida, and we met with the storage team. And Bob ran the storage team, and it turned out that Bob did the same job down the street at Florida Power and Light. And the meetings would always go something like this. Say, hi, Bob. Say, hi, Joel. I'd say, Bob, we have this new box. It does this better than that. And it only costs $1 million. You'd say, only $1 million, really? I'd say, really, Bob? How many do you want? And Bob would say, I'll take 10. And I would say, thank you. And that was it. One box, one decision maker. Life used to be so simple. Right? Sound familiar? Not anymore. So now it's like this. There are many more choices about how to solve problems, many more opportunities for technology to transform the business, and that is fantastic. But there are also a lot more decision makers with less money and less time, and they all have a lot more data that they want to use to be able to make a decision. And that data is all over the place. So 3 years ago, NetApp realized that life was no longer simple, that we needed to transform the company. And that meant a lot of changes. What we see today is a lot more exciting, and there's a lot more potential to make a difference in the world. So the biggest challenge is also the biggest opportunity. For all of us, there's an increasing importance of data in the business, and that data is more distributed, dynamic, and diverse than ever. But businesses that thrive in the future are going to be the ones who figure out how to unleash the power of that data for competitive advantage. We introduced the Data Fabric 3 years ago to simplify data management across cloud and on-premises. And since then, we've been integrating the portfolio with Data Fabric capabilities that provide data visibility and insights, data access and control, and data protection and security. And more recently, we've introduced new data services and applications to make gaining insights from data even simpler. Today, the new NetApp is about data. Now, for this week to be valuable to you, insight also has to transform. If we do our job here, you leave with insight about our products the same way you always have. But you also leave with insight about how to help your company to transform, and maybe even how to transform your own job. It's that simple. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what's going on in your job. Let's talk about what's going on in your companies. We culled through a bunch of our data to see what we could learn. We looked at the active IQ database of more than 300,000 Data Fabric endpoints. We look at it every day. 36 billion data points come in from our entire portfolio from 118 countries around the world. We wanted to see what we could find out about what you all are doing. And here's what we found. You're transforming IT in 3 big ways. And it turns out most of you are doing all 3 at once in different parts of your company. We see you embracing cloud, an incredible innovation that lets businesses move faster and be more competitive, and focus more on the core business and less on infrastructure and operations. We see new applications and new users expecting the same easy one-click experience that they get from online shopping. Simplicity, speed, and scale. And who are building next-generation cloud infrastructure for new data services to achieve that. We see you modernizing, getting ready for cloud, optimizing operations, and looking to gain efficiencies and accelerate performance by refreshing with Flash. So what does this look like in the real world? You are dealing with these challenges and opportunities every day. So let's hear directly from you, or at least some people who have some similar challenges. We use that data, the 36 billion data points that we get every day, to create representative users who are faced with the same challenges and opportunities you are. We're going to start with James. He's the director of business systems infrastructure at a large financial services company, Capital X. He's been tasked with optimizing his operations. He must get more efficient, faster, and future ready. Let's meet James.
Thanks, Joel. I recently met with my CIO, and, well, Joel, you summed it up perfectly. He wants efficiency, speed, and real-time analytics. The only problem is I don't think he realizes the status of our data center. I mean, it's old, siloed, ineffective at best, and, well, I don't know half of what's in it. Trying to figure that out is a never-ending battle. Yeah, we need to focus on deploying applications instead of storage. Yeah, making sure that each application has the right service level objectives. At the same time, we're at capacity. It's getting harder and harder to find budget for capital equipment, so we need a different solution there. Oh, and he also wants to know our data strategy. Yeah, data. I mean, we have tons of customer data that we could use to innovate for the business, but it's all over the place. Now, I might not be able to centralize all of it, but I at least need a common data management platform so I know what I have, right? Yeah, I mean, look, even if I were able to centralize it, the infrastructure that we have makes it hard to be able to extract value from that data. We have several programs that are starting up. One develops state-of-the-art real-time fraud detection. The other is a neural network that powers high-frequency trading. I mean, bleeding-edge stuff. But the requirements for my DevOps teams for the real-time analytics to power all of this is insane. I mean, I've barely started deploying Flash, and already they want the new stuff like NVMe and storage class, class memory, and it's so many things. The storage class memory to me is one of those things that I just keep saying, yes, we'll try. You know, the MongoDB guys, they're constantly mumbling about microseconds, and I mean, it's just insane. In the meantime, I have to keep the business running, right? I mean, I can't just start from scratch. I need to modernize and optimize my operations based on where I am today. So, I need to rethink our data center, centralize and deploy applications, not storage, improve efficiency, and, well, stop spending so much on new gear. Oh, and as if that wasn't enough, I need to meet insane new performance requirements for real-time analytics. Do all that, and we stop fraud in its tracks, and we become the envy of the street with our new trading platform. So, Joel, can NetApp help me out here?
Wow, that is a lot, James. Fortunately, I know some guys who have the answers. So right now, to help James optimize his operations, I'd like to bring out our NetApp SVP of the ONTAP Software and Systems Group and Flash Guru, Octavian Tanase. Octavian. Go for it.
Thanks, Joel. I was listening to James, and I got the distinct feeling that he's overwhelmed. Now, I talk to customers every day, and they have similar problems. Data in silos, applications that underperform their SLAs, inability to anticipate or react to their business requirements, a desire to get more out of their data and run analytics that can help them make decisions, better decisions, faster decisions. Now, James does not know that. He still feels alone. He's still overwhelmed. And when I have that type of feeling, what I need is a plan. Now, NetApp will build a plan to help James. So, what has happened? How did we get there? The reality is that the 21st century dynamics of data, of demographics, of technology advancement has upended capital X in their business. Not only fintech, but all industries. And companies are desperate to find simpler solutions and reduce complexity. Now, the fastest path towards that is through modernization. So it sounds simple, but a lot has changed for capital X since the 20th century. There was a time when we would interact with capital X in very different fashion. We would walk into a branch. There was a personal touch. We would meet a teller. You would even walk out with an appliance, like a toaster, when you opened a new account. So a lot has changed very fast in that industry. And the way we interact with capital X is a lot different. We traded the personal touch for the touch screen. And the way we interact with capital X or any fintech type of company is through an application running on a phone or tablet. So this is transformative. And the question is, what can we do to help James? Now, you heard George, you heard Joel and others talked about the three imperatives that are helping customers deal with the digital transformation. We talked about cloud and the ability to harness hybrid cloud, the flexibility that offers customers. We also talked about the future and enabling customers to really future-proof their investments and build the next generation data center. The last one is through modernization and helping customers modernize their storage infrastructure through data management. Now, this is my personal favorite. Why? Because this is what NetApp has done for the last 25 years. Time and again, we've helped customers adopt disruptive technologies in non-disruptive ways. Not an easy feat. So what do I mean by a modern data center? A modern data center is cloud-connected, is flash-enabled, is software-defined, and it's simple to manage. And simplicity, that's an interesting topic because many of you can no longer afford or cannot find the Jedi Knights of storage or of networking, and a lot of what we have to do has to go through an IT generalist. So the bar has changed. So the question is, are these characteristics going to help James and the set of issues that Capital X has? Absolutely. He has an application that underperforms, so it needs flash. He needs analytics. Well, he needs flash and more. He needs a software-defined solution. We have that. So for a company like Capital X, time is literally money. And for them, microseconds matter. So that's what we're going to try to do. Now, let's get real. Let's go back to the plan that I promised for Capital X. What we're going to do is help him first assess his situation, understand his infrastructure. The second is we're going to help him simplify and consolidate on one platform, ONTAP. Number three, we're actually going to help him keep his job because he's in trouble with his CIO, and he really needs to accelerate his main trading application. We're also going to help him build some analytics because there is that desire to get more out of the data to make better decisions. We're going to help also with his data explosion problem. Not only become more efficient and solve that problem for today, we're going to solve that problem for the future. That's very exciting. Last but not least, we're going to help him become a hero of Capital X. We're going to help him get promoted there. We're going to future-proof through a data management system that helps him and his company deploy emerging applications, data-centric applications that will help them compete in the industry. So to make that real, I'm going to bring on stage Jeff Baxter, Chief Evangelist for Data ONTAP, and we're going to demonstrate this. Jeff. All right.
How you doing?
All right, partner.
All right. Well, thanks for having me out here. And yeah, I guess this is the other end of that photo, right? I imagine James is absolutely buried under the weight of his infrastructure. We think that's James under there. We just can't tell. So we need to help him get a handle on his data center, right? A handle on this aging, inefficient infrastructure. Fortunately, we have an absolutely great tool for that. I think you're familiar with On-Command Insight. How many of you are familiar with On-Command Insight out there? Can I get a show of hands? Right, using it? Amazing product, amazing solution that can help him really assess that mess. So we can do just that. This is an example of a very high-level On-Command Insight dashboard, right? You can get deep, deep down into the infrastructure, assess across thousands of hosts, but you can also up-level it to get a really good idea of what's going on inside Capital X. And as you can see, it's, well, what's the term? Not quite optimal. I think we're over 5 milliseconds of latency, slight problem, 95% on capacity. IOPS are horrible, errors are horrible. I mean, what do you think?
I'm not surprised he's in trouble with his CIO. I think there's probably a fifth dial here where there's a gauge pointing towards him getting fired soon.
Yeah, the fired promoted dial is in beta right now, so we're working on that. There's an API issue with HR. But fortunately, I mean, we can help. Okay. Everything you were talking about with modernizing, with the power of a piece of software you might be familiar with. How many of you have heard of ONTAP? So ONTAP 9 is a solution that can help provide common data management. You can modernize. And more importantly, James told us, and we know, the days of being able to move all of your data into 1 or 2 data centers are over. It's a day when data is everywhere. Data is at the edge. Data is in data centers that's spread across the world. But fortunately, with ONTAP, you can have a common data management platform everywhere and anywhere your data is. So whether it's on engineered systems, whether it's on converged systems with FlexPod, whether it's on heterogeneous systems, or whether it's software-defined with things like ONTAP Select. And obviously, you can run it both in the cloud and near the cloud. Wherever you need to modernize your data management, ONTAP is there.
All right, so I thought that you were going to use some new capabilities from ONTAP 9.3 to solve James's problems.
ONTAP 9.3, I'm not sure. I don't know if we've actually officially announced that yet.
Well, we didn't, but it's good to be the boss. So today,
okay. It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
Today we're announcing ONTAP 9.3 will be available for download, within a couple of weeks. This is ONTAP that is faster, more efficient, more secure than ever, right? So there are a lot of new capabilities that we're very proud of. The team has worked relentlessly on quality of service, on Metro Cluster over IP, and I can go on and on.
Yep.
But there are sessions,
yep,
there are demonstrations, and I highly encourage you to go and understand what's new in ONTAP 9.3 and how it can help you, solve your digital transformation problem.
Very cool. So first time announcing ONTAP 9.3. Sound pretty cool? Everyone asked for that? So if it's okay with you, I know it's not quite out just yet, but I'd like to, as we're doing some. Do you guys want to see some demos?
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you okay with them? So I'd like to do a few demos, but I'd like to actually use ONTAP 9.3. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Otherwise, I'm going to need to run in the back and make some changes. So let's go ahead and take a look. This is On-Command System Manager. It's the built-in element manager in every version of ONTAP we ship, regardless of where ONTAP is deployed. I'm actually using a 9.3 version here. So we'll go ahead and log in as James. And there's something a little bit new here. It's something we started to introduce in ONTAP 9.2, and we're refining it in ONTAP 9.3. There's something on the left. It calls applications. You heard James say he wants to focus on applications and his data, not on his storage. So if we click into applications, it gives us different options for applications or storage tiers. And I click in one more time, and we go to a very simple screen where you're focused. You have a very large single button on the screen, add an application.
I love big buttons.
I'm not going to touch that one. We'll talk later. But anyways, the idea here is for all of the, I think you call them Jedi Knights, right? So for all, how many Jedi Knights of storage do we have in the audience right now? Raise your lightsabers. No?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Cool. So all of the power is still there, the ability to create LUNs, the ability to create volumes, all of the things you've always known and loved. But for the IT generalists out there, we're taking all of that knowledge and building it directly into ONTAP.
And by now, everybody's desperate for you to click on the button.
I know, I'm just making them wait. Yeah. So let's take a look at a simple example. So in this case, we're going to deploy a generic application, a generic NAS application, or a generic SAN application. This is all about taking that distilled knowledge of the last 25 years, and you still have the power to do it, and you still have the option to go out and read a 100-page technical report if you want. I highly recommend TR1234, A Cure for Insomnia. But we've baked all of that directly into the interface. So I click on General SAN Application, one page, and if I zoom in on what matters here, what's the name of my application, how much space does it need, and what service level do I want? In this case, because it's James's incredibly important trading application, we went with an extreme service level, and it's going to automatically, as I go through, put it on the right aggregates, the right storage, set quality of service, and do everything necessary to really save his application and start moving the dial for him.
I call that ONTAP magic.
It is ONTAP magic. It absolutely is. Click in here on application, and you see it builds. It figures out what the right node is on the cluster to deploy, what the right aggregate is, where we can get the right performance, and applies the quality of service, all necessary to do that. Does that seem pretty cool? Pretty straightforward? So here we are, and you can already see, right, we're up over 100,000 IOPS just by moving to ONTAP 9 and AFF. And in fact, I mentioned none of the power goes away. So it's incredibly simple, but I can click in and I can get into the details if I want to. I can click in and see what volume did I place it on, and I can actually see details about how well it's performing against the service level I've asked for. In this particular case, I'll drill in a little bit on the latency. You remember James was up over 5 milliseconds of latency, doing just a tiny bit better now, moving it to ONTAP 9 and AFF.
Well, Jeff, I think you're being modest here. It's not a little bit better. It's an order of magnitude better. I think this is transformative for his application.
Absolutely right. And you know, I think we're just getting started, but why don't we take a look back? You know, it's important to hit his business objectives. So let's take a look back at his checklist here. So 5 minutes, basically, and we've already done the first 3. We assessed the mess, right? We used on-command insight to find out what was going on in his data center. We brought him to a common data management platform, right? Used ONTAP 9 to focus really on his applications with the new application-centric provisioning, and we've already gotten started on accelerating his workloads in analytics. Pretty good, right?
It is, and I think we're a step closer to keeping him employed, but I think he still has a data explosion challenge that we need to solve, and we need to solve that not only for today, but for tomorrow as well.
Yeah, and how many of you enjoy running storage systems that are running at like 95% full? That's a joyful experience. I've been there. So let's see what we can do for him. You know, the first thing, obviously, is ONTAP has this heritage of leadership in storage efficiency going all the way back multiple decades. We have the ability to take legacy data running on legacy storage arrays, and just by moving it to ONTAP 9, drive massive storage efficiencies. So it's very common for our customers to see storage efficiencies like 4 to 1. And just by doing that, we've already got them down to 800 terabytes, right? Not a bad first step.
He'll be pleased.
But the great part is we don't stop there, right? Every 6 months, we have this cadence of innovation. And so there's a new version of ONTAP, and every single version of ONTAP so far, we've added more and more and more storage efficiency, getting more and more space back without adding a single storage shelf and without bringing a single forklift into the data center. Pretty cool?
And nobody's looking forward to have forklifts upgrades. So
No.
simple, non-disruptive, free every 6 months. Is that the takeaway?
Simple, disruptive. Are people in favor of free? Is that usually a good option? The ability to go here from 95% full through software upgrade, through centralizing our data management, and all of a sudden, we've got James all the way down to 15%. Pretty good, right?
It is, right? But for the last couple of years, we've been talking about the data fabric, right? Which is an architecture and a vision to enable data management in a hybrid environment. Is there an opportunity for James to use the cloud to further reduce the TCO for his infrastructure and applications?
Absolutely. Yeah, so when we go out and use the power of the data fabric and the power of the cloud, does anyone remember a year ago on this stage, we showed off a new capability we built into ONTAP for extending your data directly out to the cloud? Anyone want to tell me what the name of it is? First word? Fabric Pool. Right, exactly right. So Fabric Pool we announced on the stage and then shipped 6 months later. Fabric Pool is now saving our customers up to 40% by being able to tier their snapshots, their backup data directly off to the public cloud. In this case, taking another 200 terabytes of James's data and moving it up to the cloud. And we have 2 amazing options: the ability to do it at the private cloud with StorageGrid, NetApp StorageGrid, or the ability to go out to a hyperscaler and scale out to AWS S3.
Well, what if Capital X is looking for additional cloud as perhaps more choices for their data fabric deployment?
So they have plenty of choices, and by that I mean 2. They can go to StorageGrid, or they can go to Amazon S3.
But they want more.
I don't have more right now.
Well, once again, it's good to be the boss. Because today, we're pre-announcing availability of Microsoft Azure as a destination for the Fabric Pool technology. We're very excited about that.
So this is really the start of the data fabric, right? Working across multiple different hyperscalers, working across private cloud and public cloud to really drive optimization. So we pre-announced it today. We want to be really clear. It's not in ONTAP 9.3, but working in the lab, right?
It is. The team is very excited about that.
So, excellent. So, we've been doing well. We used Fabric Pool, got them down to 10% full, but there's a problem. The problem is success always breeds success. How many of you have heard, nature abhors a vacuum? I have a corollary, which is data abhors an empty storage system. So the moment we get the space back, the moment Internet of Things and real-time analytics, the flood of data comes. So, he was originally full at 3 petabytes, 19 petabytes flooding in. I'm completely out of technical tricks, Octavian. I got nothing left to save James here.
So you may be out of tricks, but I think I'm going to help you out. I'm going to call one of your old friends to see if he can help.
Which one? I owe some money.
Nito.
Oh,
Nito.
no.
Hi, Jeff. This is Nito from Brazil. How are you? Do you need me, man? Hold on.
You have to tell me when you do things like this. He's taking a long time. Can we put a clock on him or something? Oh, okay. Nito bobblehead metronome. That'll work.
I love you, the man. NetApp. I love this company. Support.
So Nito loves NetApp, and NetApp loves Nito too. We're very fortunate to have somebody like him, and our customers are also fortunate because NetApp On Demand, it's a service, but it's more than that. It's peace of mind. NetApp On Demand enables you to leverage expertise, subject matter experts such as Nito. Nito will probably come at a premium, but nonetheless,
He's a premium.
we're able to deploy infrastructure for you on demand to make sure that we satisfy your needs. And moreover, we're looking to bring flexibility because sometimes, in the case of Capital X and James, he's running out of capital budget.
Yeah.
And there is an opportunity for him to get additional flexibility to solve his problem in a clever financial way. Now, this is good because you're not just solving the storage efficiency issue and the data explosion challenge today. We're helping him solve that for the future. Absolutely. So we're very proud of that.
Absolutely right. So probably a good time to check back in on the checklist. We were able to use ONTAP storage efficiency, and we were able to use NetApp On Demand to go ahead and solve that data explosion under control. Just one last bullet left.
Well, I think we had a high goal to make him a hero at Capital X and help him deploy the type of system that enables him to deploy perhaps emerging applications, new applications that are going to be critical to the digital transformation that Capital X is undergoing right now.
Yeah.
It's going to help them compete. It's going to help them stay in business.
Absolutely. So, James was talking about things like emerging applications, microseconds of latency, all these crazy things. I would like to show some of that off, but I need to ask a favor. I need to show some stuff off that's a little bit farther into the future than 9.3. I know sometimes we don't do that. Can I demo the future cool stuff?
Yes, I talked to Brendan, our attorney, and we're clear.
Okay, we're clear. Why is he wearing a blindfold?
All right, let's go for it.
Okay, so let me set the ground stage, right? Flash has been absolutely essential for digital transformation. We've seen the transition from hard drives to hybrid flash and now to all flash. How many of you have or have deployed an all-flash system or are considering getting one? Let me see a show of hands, right? So there's a huge wave of all-flash. And that's been awesome. That's been critical for the digital transformation. But emerging applications are demanding more. And we've heard this. So artificial intelligence, neural networks, real-time analytics, all of these different applications are where we're talking about things like microseconds of latency, like these new emerging applications. So to do that, we need to look at new disruptive technologies. And so what I'm going to demonstrate today is really walking through each of these. Things like you may have heard of, NVMe over fabrics, storage class memory, or persistent memory, whether in the storage or on the server side. Okay, sound pretty good?
Yes, it does.
So I said a lot of this is in the future, but the cool thing about the future is sometimes the future is already here. So last week, we were proud to announce the EF570. And the EF570 is our first NVMe over fabric array supporting, none of these are typos unless they changed. Nope. 100 gig NVMe over InfiniBand, under 100 microseconds of latency, and the absolute world's best price performance for both IOPS and megabytes per second, as proven through SBC1 and SBC2. It's an absolute beast of a box.
This is impressive, but I think some people are going to have a hard time putting that in their presentation.
Yeah.
That Greek mu there,
I can't find
they're not going to find that on their keyboards.
I can't find the U with the weird tail on it to save my life. I just have to copy-paste it from one presentation to another. Yeah,
all right.
It's an absolute beast.
But let's go back to what we're trying to do for James and Capital X, because we're looking to solve and consolidate with ONTAP his data, his whole set of data applications that he has. So what do we have on the ONTAP side that could help?
Absolutely. So we thought with all these new disruptive technologies, we would throw everything out, build a whole new platform, build a whole new user interface. No, just kidding.
No.
So let's go back to on-command system manager. And what if, in the world's #1 deployed storage operating system, we redefined what unified mean? So it's NAS, SAN, and NVMe over Fabric. Would that be pretty cool?
Yeah. This is the first protocol that we've added in the last 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. I think we added SCSI about 10 years ago. First new primary protocol that we've added into ONTAP since, and we've now got it working in the lab. So I go ahead and click in here. Again, looks very familiar. We zoom in, and again, what's the name of my application? How much space do I need, and what service level? I demanded that they add ludicrous mode. I was outvoted. So hyper performance is up here. And again, same exact recipes, everything built directly into the system. One page, one click, and I'm done. I can go ahead and provision out onto the existing aggregates.
NetApp magic once again.
NetApp magic. So side by side, same system. In some cases, running on the exact same SAN infrastructure, your trading application and now your hyperspeed trading application using NVMe over Fabrics all on one system. Pretty cool?
Yep. So let's see the results.
So the results, right? So I can dive in, and again, all the details still there. If I go ahead and click into the underlying volume, so we're at 0.4 milliseconds before, and through software, and through introducing NVMe over Fabric, again, a slight improvement. We've cut the latency in half, down to 0.2 milliseconds.
Yeah, you're being modest again. This is 50%. Once again, tremendous performance.
Absolutely. So this is going to start to drive, his latency, but we also want to improve his top line, his IOPS, right?
And I think for applications such as analytics, that both are required, low latency and the high throughput.
Absolutely. So how many of you remember a little thing that we did a couple years ago called Flash Cache? Anyone remember that? Anyone deploy Flash Cache out there? Let me see a show of hands, right? Okay. That's just about every other hand in the audience. So there's this new technology, storage class memory, that just as Flash helped accelerate hard drives, an order of magnitude faster, storage class memory can now accelerate all Flash. And for us, it's as simple as configuration and one button. It's a small button, I'm sorry. Go ahead and click on the storage class memory cache. It's literally on/off. And by clicking on it, immediately I'm able to offload hundreds of thousands of IOPS, no administrator intervention, no having to target data, no having to determine what's hot and cold. We automatically take that data off an all-flash system, move it into storage class memory, and instantaneously we can drive over double the IOPS through the same exact all-flash FAS platform, same exact version of ONTAP, but just by adding storage class memory. Pretty cool?
It's good to see us, once and again adopt new technologies, introduce them non-disruptively in our customer environments, and have them reap the benefits of that.
Yep. One last thing to do. I promised microseconds, right?
Okay.
Or at least James asked for microseconds, so I've got to deliver on that.
All right.
And we talked about MongoDB. So what if instead of deploying generic applications, we built the logic for all these applications directly into the system, and we're able to click on it and add applications like Oracle, or like in this case, MongoDB directly over NVMe with a button click. Dive in again, and again, asking very simple questions. It's a little more customized for MongoDB, but what's the name of my application? How much data do I need? What service level do I need? Some specific MongoDB questions like what's my replication factor? How many instances do I want? And then you'll notice an interesting checkbox here at the bottom that we've never seen before. Integrate with server-side persistent memory. First time we've talked about servers really directly within on-command system manager.
Well, and I think that's an opportunity for us to talk about a recent acquisition that we've made. And you guys know that we've been relentless at innovation and have built this pedigree of innovation over many years. But we are looking to not always innovate organically. We're looking to bring in key technologies that are enabling us to extend our reach and go from a place where we were becoming just experts in the network storage. And now we're going to extend that data management capability into the host, into the server, and see if we can help this on this continuum of accelerating and enabling data management both in the host and in the on the network storage layer.
Absolutely right. So again, same exact interface, same exact ease of use, single button click on a single page, and we've gone ahead and created an entire storage infrastructure for MongoDB running on NVMe. And again, I can click in, and you're seeing pretty decent IOPS, right? Pretty decent performance, but the latency isn't where I'd like, but you'll notice there's something called host system here, where I can actually go ahead and click directly into the MongoDB host.
So you're using System Manager not only to configure and provision the network storage layer, but the host as well.
Absolutely right.
That's pretty amazing.
So I'm going to go ahead and click through. And for the first time, we're going to offer server-specific and application-specific dashboards. In this case, for MongoDB, showing the integration between the server-side persistent memory using the PlexiStore technology and our AFF system. And this, you're already getting a sense from the screenshot, one of the key capabilities built in. We're going to have snapshots, we're going to have clones, we're going to have all the data management you're used to. We're also going to have the ability to tier so that you can have a 15 terabyte database in this particular case with 2 terabytes of that hot database on persistent memory in the server, and the other 13 terabytes automatically tiered down to your slow AFF system.
Don't call it slow, please.
Don't call it slow, sorry. All right. Wrote that on the notes. So, you want to go ahead and see how it does? So give it a test drive?
Absolutely.
Okay. So using the power of the data fabric, we've linked these. Enterprise integration, enterprise data management for snapshots, data protection, tiering, all built in. And so we can compare against our AFF system, which at this point, with everything we've done so far, is doing 300,000 IOPS and about 0.2 milliseconds of latency.
And you call that slow?
I call that slow, and there's a reason. We did a little bit better with the PlexiStore technology, so let me go ahead and build that out. We're going to need a bigger screen. I think I broke it.
Is that like maybe a typo?
It's not, no. So it does about 3 million IOPS, and there's that U again, 3 microseconds of latency. Is that pretty cool?
Talking about transformation, this would be transformative to Capital X. It will enable them to compete and build the type of applications that will help them differentiate in their industry.
Absolutely. All those real-time analytics, the neural networks he talked about for high-speed frequency trading, all of these different new applications to combat fraud. As you said at the beginning, right, time is literally money, and this is the fastest and most enterprise data fabric integrated solution you can possibly bring.
I have a feeling that James is on the phone with his CIO right now asking for a promotion and a raise.
Absolutely, and you know why? We're taking these disruptive technologies, and we're able to introduce them non-disruptively to optimize his operations. And so if we go back to the start and we go back to that dashboard, 5 milliseconds of latency, system completely full, looking a tiny bit better now, right?
Yes, and the 5th dial right now, I think it points from getting fired to getting promoted.
Absolutely right. So let's go ahead. One more time, let's click back on that scorecard. Obviously, we've helped him future-proof his data management. We've taken all of these disruptive technologies. We've introduced them non-disruptively into his architecture, and we've enabled his business to succeed with the data and the applications they need.
Yeah, I think the assessment was key because he needed to know where he is and where he needs to go. We helped him simplify and consolidate on one data management system. We helped him accelerate his main trading application. We helped him build some analytics to help him make better decisions, faster decisions for his business. We also solved his data challenge, not only today, but for the future. Last but not least, we made him a hero. And he's now, building a data management system, to enable emerging applications that will help Capital X compete for the years to come.
Yep.
I think we've done a great job. I think James is going to love us. I'm going to go look for a PO right now, and I'm going to ask Joe to come back on stage and take it away.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, sir.
Thank you, Octavian and Jeff. That was great. Now I have another friend from Capital X I'd like you to meet. Meet Stephanie. Oh, okay. Hey, Stephanie. Right. So Stephanie's the infrastructure architect for a new division at Capital X. And she has a tremendous opportunity staring her in the face. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie.
So Joel and I, we've spoken. I made some notes on paper, if anyone is familiar with paper. I am excited to be leading the development for a new suite of apps for Capital X. We're going after a new market with a new set of analytics tools. It's big. So with the finance market being disrupted by some new business models and challenger banks, our CEO sees that we need to be more innovative and flexible in the services we deliver to enable more customer touch points. If we get this right, we can lead the company with a new development model. So yesterday morning, my app dev team met with me about our development model, and I advised them to develop independently and move fast, like a startup. So we have the opportunity to simplify and automate development without giving up quality. Now, standing up the infrastructure for all of this will be challenging. We need performance, of course, but we aren't sure what the workloads are going to be. So any solution has to be flexible. It has to support all of our work without compromising our projects. We need a simple self-serve environment where no one has to wait for development resources. And it has to be automated so that my teams don't take up time configuring and managing infrastructure. The bottom line, it needs to work. Ideally, the same tool sets that our developers are already using. Creating new standards without slowing progress is a big mission for the CIO. The challenge is we need to build for what we know today, but we aren't sure what services are going to be required tomorrow. So again, flexibility is going to be key. We need to be able to adjust our plans as new business opportunities arise. We need massive compute power, but not all the time. I actually really like the idea of serverless computing on the cloud. I mean, to be honest, I'd really like to go all cloud for flexibility, but there's some sensitive data, and banking regulations call for keeping a lot of that in the building, but on what? I mean, how do we ensure that we integrate our other systems, including backup and recovery and DR? The reality is we need to be up and running now. We don't have time to deal with IT. So whatever we do, we have to do it quickly. My developers need to show application momentum and at least a prototype within the quarter. So I need help from a vendor I can trust. So Joel, what can NetApp do for me?
Wow, Stephanie. You have your hands full with this project, don't you? But it sounds really exciting. Guess what? I know just the person to help you. Please welcome the Vice President of NetApp SolidFire Group, Dan Berg. Sir?
Thanks, Joel. Hello, Stephanie, and hello to all of you. Stephanie sure has some challenges for us, doesn't she? As I'm sure maybe some of you have the same challenges. But we can help you and Stephanie build a next-gen data center using on-prem cloud infrastructure to accelerate your business. So let's look at Stephanie's requirements. She, like you, need to get up and running quickly, where time to value is absolutely critical for her and her group. She also asked for an infrastructure that would deliver a quick win, where the customer experience was positive. She requires scalability and agility to keep pace with the growth that she expects. And she needs to ensure her data and the business are secure. We have many customers like Stephanie, like you, investing in new shared cloud platforms to support the development of new applications and building new data services. You want modular, full-stack solutions that simplify IT operations. And I believe our portfolio delivers unique advantages that no one else can touch. We're agile and elastic, supporting mixed, variable, and on-demand workloads, enabling you to do much more agile planning to adapt as your business needs change. We're scalable with our node-based, scale-out architecture and software-defined and managed. You can start small, grow big, and actually shrink back as your needs change. And we're predictable. Guaranteed application performance and data assurance. You can demand, deliver, and guarantee quality of service down to the VM or volume level. And probably most important, we're automated. An API-driven deployment and management infrastructure enabling you to integrate, automate, and orchestrate your infrastructure to work with the tool sets that you choose. With our solutions, for example, you can eliminate 93% of the traditional performance problems within your infrastructure and deliver 67% lower operating costs. And best of all, we can reduce your administration time by a factor of 12x. That's a huge number. Now let's look at the purchasing side and talk a bit about how the conversations are changing with our customers. I'm guessing that you've seen changes take place like this as well, where in the past, we used to have siloed conversations at the server, storage, and network level that led to very discrete conversations about your infrastructure. Today, however, you're building private cloud environments that enable innovation and improve your efficiency. And those conversations are changing. They're solution-driven. We talk about rapid application development, storage availability, network efficiencies, and even security. And as our relationship with you develops, we enable more and more with integrated solutions that simplify, automate, and accelerate your business. And all of this is supported by leading industry analysts that are predicting that 65% of enterprises are investing in policy-driven, self-serve automation to power on-demand, multi-cloud access for developers in the next year. And 70% of storage provisioning and management functions are integrated within the infrastructure platforms within the next 3 years. And further, some estimate that over half of all enterprises today are investing in some IT transformation initiative with the sole goal of responding to business needs quicker. In order to meet this fast pace of innovation and for you to remain competitive, it's clear you can't continue with business as is. However, you are the ones to help build a bridge to the next level of simplicity and automation. And we have the best solutions for Stephanie and for customers like you. And we base these solutions on the proven architectures of both SolidFire and StorageGrid. So let me talk a little bit about SolidFire. At its core, SolidFire is a scalable, predictable, and automated all-flash array designed perfectly for converged and hyper-converged infrastructures. With guaranteed performance, automated management, and a scale-out architecture, SolidFire can build your cloud better than anyone. However, success comes from business outcomes. And those outcomes must have a supporting infrastructure that's both agile and efficient. And as I said, SolidFire simplifies it with an API-driven infrastructure that enables you to spend 12x less time managing your infrastructure, giving you more time to accelerate your business, achieve your goals, increase your budget, and maybe even get a raise. Wouldn't that be nice? StorageGrid brings value and flexibility to unstructured data. Using open industry-standard APIs and optimized integrated lifecycle management, StorageGrid extends the NetApp data fabric by introducing the tightest integrations with Amazon Web Services of any storage vendor out there, period. Supporting 100 billion objects in a distributed active-active namespace globally, StorageGrid provides the ability to deploy as a VM, within a container, or with a purpose-built appliance. And as you know, the value of this data changes over time, and StorageGrid uniquely allows you to define the data durability, the cost of storage, retention requirements for each stage of your data's lifecycle. And chances are, your plans will change over time, and you'll need to update these definitions and policies. And that's exactly why we built StorageGrid. It allows you to adjust to these business changes as you choose. And we also have, in addition to SolidFire, AFA, and StorageGrid, our SolidFire FlexPod, or FlexPod SF, and our NetApp HCI solution, both of which based on the SolidFire technology, all integrated into the NetApp data fabric to help you build a bridge from where you are today to where you need to be in the future, spanning from the enterprise to on-prem cloud and into the public hybrid cloud. With that, let's take a look at how we can use this portfolio to address Stephanie's needs. For her to quickly build out an infrastructure so her team can develop and deploy new applications. With that, I'd like to welcome a rock star of cloud infrastructure and my colleague, Adam Carter. Adam.
Thank you so much, Dan. wow, it looks like Stephanie's really got her work cut out for her.
She sure does.
And like all of you, anytime you've got a project like this challenge is really hard to solve at the base infrastructure layer. You don't even know enough about what you're building. Enough about what you're going to run on what you're building to really be able to design it from the ground up as this unique solution. We're going to be showing you our recommended solution to this would be NetApp HCI. And this is going to be a pretty quick journey through the demonstration of this new HCI product. I do want to point out first that as the nature of an HCI product is, we've automated so much of what happens when you deploy this thing and use this thing that the demo moves really fast. So pay attention and watch for a lot of the highlights that we'll be pointing out as we go through there. You'll see management in vCenter. You'll see us bubbling up advanced storage services into that interface. We're going to show you additional services that we're going to layer on top of it in ONTAP Select and in Storage Grid. We're going to show you that we can scale the system easily, and then we're going to wrap that up with protecting the data through the NetApp Data Fabric. So there's a lot in a very short amount of time here. Buckle up and let's go.
Let's go.
All right, so Stephanie, we're going to recommend that you run this new infrastructure on NetApp HCI. This is essentially a 4U starter system packed full of compute and storage. And she can start with this small footprint, but have the assurance that she can scale it. You can scale this as far as you could ever need to go for any production system.
I know we tend to be software guys, Adam, but that's beautiful.
Thank you. So we're going to set this system up, and a good HCI system is going to automate this and make it really easy, right? So this is the NetApp deployment engine, a tool that takes as little input as possible and deploys this powerful solution. It even takes boring stuff like EULAs from multiple vendors and tries to wrap them up and say, hey, let's get this done, let's get this over with, let's move on. We can put so few input into this. In this case, Stephanie needs her own vCenter as part of this deployment, so she's going to define her own. You could hook up to your corporate vCenter, depends on your needs, but she's looking for self-service here. So she's going to hook up to that corporate vCenter. And here's just a simple example of isolated input being minimized. Usernames and passwords that happen at many layers in the system, one input here. We're going to define this once and be automated through the whole system. Now, in a typical deployment here, you've got all the infrastructure that you happen to purchase as your starter kit. It's all being discovered here automatically. We're going to select it all. You would deploy as much power as you can get on your first deployment. Typically, an HCI installation is just going to build everything at once. Now, networking. This is one of the most insanely hard parts about new infrastructures is how many inputs, how many times could you mess it up, how easily could you fat finger a subnet, for example. We've even boiled that down to, no, don't type that in. We'll show you the valid inputs that you can just select.
I can't tell you, Adam, how many times I've done that, right? You enter something and you think, where's the mistake? And you spend hours trying to debug the problem and find out it was you with a simple entry.
Yeah,
great.
It saves so much time here. And in the background, we are not just pinging a few addresses. We're making sure DNS is DNS, NTP is NTP, and all of this is actually functioning to save you effort later. So now if you look at this summary, with that few inputs, all of this data that we needed to deploy this whole infrastructure, all these inputs I might have had to done manually before, have all been summarized here. This was all done with that little effort. And while I could customize it, it looks great. We're just going to go with the magic of the engine here. And so with that, the NetApp deployment engine takes off in a fully automated way, deploys the entire system in every piece required of it. Now, this is sped up a little bit from real time. In real time, this step takes up to an hour. That is insanely fast compared to what it takes even absolute pros to install a system like this end to end and get it all correct. So just like that, we've got infrastructure as a service running.
Very impressive, Adam. Very impressive.
So from here on out, now that we've got the system running, we're going to manage it all in vCenter. Now, thankfully, because this is just vCenter, I'm not going to have to go train, you're not going to have to go train everybody on some new interface and some new system with all its own rules and different look and feel. This is a very well-known interface. And all I'm showing you around here is that everything was pre-set up for you. The plugins, every piece of management, things that were, the management node that does all monitoring, does upgrades, et cetera. All of that has been pre-configured in here. We're just looking around and showing the configuration, maybe because we didn't believe it really did all that for us, and all these inputs were just done for us. So while I can come into this interface and I could change things or update things or manage it going forward, I didn't need to do anything here. This was all completely automated for me.
And it's all within vCenter? You didn't leave vCenter at any time to do any of this?
No, we're going to stay right in this one interface as our management tool for this whole infrastructure as a service.
All right, so that was pretty quick.
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, now we want to actually show some of the things we've bubbled up as advanced storage services. One of the capabilities of the underlying SolidFire system is multi-tenancy, where you can carve off VLANs specific for one set of storage for one tenant. Even stuff like that, advanced storage systems have been bubbled up into this interface. So if I want to have a single tenant and you want to automate, let's say, you just want to have automation that lets you discover all volumes that you can see. And all those volumes, you discover all volumes that you can see, and all of those volumes only be visible to that one tenant, right? It makes automation easy. I don't have to think about IQNs, et cetera. I can see the storage, it's mine, I grab it and I go. So we're going to be able to create that right here inside of vCenter. We're going to go create a storage-specific VLAN so that the underlying storage system carves up a special tenant network that isolates this user. And again, I don't have to input all the IP addresses that this would take. I can input a range, and it'll automate creating all those IPs for me.
So that limits the number of volumes to that VLAN that you set up.
Yeah.
Great. So easy again, right?
Yeah, that's the point. Let's make this all really easy. Now, I'm going to start adding in some other tricks, though. So we've got HCI. That's great. But we've got a lot of power in this portfolio to help customers out. So,
right, so what else can you do?
OK. I'm going to need file services. I'm sure at the very least, developers are going to want me to share a bunch of the assets they need. So I'm going to deploy ONTAP Select on top of HCI, not with more resources. I don't need more compute. I don't need more storage. I just want more services on top of it. So I deploy ONTAP Select on top of it, and I get file services on top of this HCI. And not just any file services. We built the entirety of ONTAP Select on this. So if you know what you're doing with it, you can actually open up that piece of it and go crazy. I can't possibly articulate in any reasonable amount of time how much power that exposed, especially to customers they've done a lot to work with this system, and they need it in certain parts of their infrastructure. Maybe they automated, maybe they built a policy around it. We can expose all of those capabilities to them on top of NetApp HCI.
So it's great, right? And a little story, prior to NetApp, when we were SolidFire standalone, we spent months thinking about how we were going to compete with NFS, how we were going to offer this. Are you telling me now that we have that on top of SolidFire and HCI?
Yeah, and not just NFS, right? You could have tried to plaster something on top there that worked as a file share. This is ONTAP.
Fantastic.
Right? The world's best proven file services and many other capabilities on top of that. We did it to get the best file services we could.
Great.
Yeah.
So, checking in on Stephanie's list here, Adam, you got a full HCI infrastructure up and running. You configured VLANs, storage volumes, all within a single UI. You even added file services, and the world's best file services. But I believe Stephanie asked about getting an application up and running quickly and delivering a positive customer experience. What do you got for us?
Well, I think we can really help her out here. So she had this assignment, really, to deliver a cool application that could allow Capital X to see what was going on at its customer kiosks and try to understand how customers were experiencing their kiosks. How could we improve it? Are they enjoying it? Do they hate it? Is our new interface a good thing, et cetera? They really wanted a way to do this, and they wanted a prototype in the quarter. Not an easy thing to solve. So we're going to help her out here a ton. And infrastructure was just the beginning of the problem, right? So what we're going to do to help her deploy a prototype of this cool app is we're going to take the HCI configuration that we just built, right? This base configuration. We're going to deploy on top of that yet another service. We're going to deploy StorageGrid Web Scale and create ourselves this bucket of storage, basically, that we're going to put images into. Now, they're just images right now. In this state, we don't know anything about what's going on in them. We don't know how the customer is experiencing the kiosk yet. But we're going to help her prototype that idea by leveraging StorageGrid integration direct to AWS, where we can automatically notify AWS that we have images we want to process recognition on. So that notification happens to AWS, and those files in our object store that had no data about emotion before honestly get magically updated with recognition capabilities that add emotion data to these images on our system. So we get to leverage serverless compute, as Stephanie was talking about before, that she really wishes she could use more cloud stuff, but she can't put the data off-prem.
Right. So I think I get it. But Stephanie said quickly, this is going to take a lot of coding, right?
No, this is native capabilities built into the products in our portfolio that we can layer on top of HCI. This is no code for her.
All right, let's see it.
All right. Let me show you what that would look like. This is StorageGrid WebScale installed as another service on top. And I'm just showing real quick that it's been configured here. These configuration screens that we're going to cancel out of, it's been configured here to notify AWS when it has new photos to run functions on. So we're going to simulate this by taking a bunch of images, and we're just going to copy them over. These are images that we don't know what's in them. We don't know what the customer's emotions are in them, at least not yet. They're going to be copied over into that bucket on StorageGrid WebScale, and that automatically notified AWS that magic recognition is running on AWS Compute. And just like that, the metadata gets updated on these objects to show emotion data about what's going on inside of it. When we want to look at that at scale, when we want to see the full range of emotion, we can use visualization software to look at the entire range of emotions that was found in lots of data about customers at lots of kiosks and get an idea of what's going on with our customers.
And it looks like there's some happy customers. Pretty impressive, Adam.
Yeah.
But let me get this. So you kept this metadata on-prem and leveraged cloud computing, serverless computing, not being part of Stephanie's internal infrastructure?
Right. I was able to, hybrid use case, blend that the requirement was to keep data on-prem, and the requirement was to get metadata on-prem, which the metadata is also on-prem, but I utilized compute capabilities that are already available in the cloud. Why go waste time? I need this in a quarter. Why go waste time developing new functions and capabilities that already exist and I can just leverage?
All leveraging APIs. What do you guys think? Cool? All right. So checking back in, I think Stephanie has her quick win, and certainly it seems she had some delighted customers. So Adam, scale. Can you tell us about that?
Scale. So I'm going to show real quick. I mean, of course, now we've started to use this system. We didn't just deploy it. We're actually in use. We're using up storage. We're going to have to scale it for sure. Let's talk about how we do that. So now that the system's growing, we can add more storage to it. We find here that we have a pending node. It's just a new storage node. It's discovered on the network as pending, and we say add it. Once again, we're here in vCenter adding that node. There's 2 steps to adding a node in this system, or adding storage. You add the node, and then you need to add the storage in that node to actually expand the system. You're going to see here a vCenter alarm that warns us to remind us, hey, you need to add the drives of that. I want to highlight for this, all of the monitoring of the solution was built into vCenter alarms. You don't want another UI to babysit. You don't want another monitoring system to have to deploy. You can deploy others, but we've done it here inside of vCenter automatically for you. So now that I've been warned of that, we'll go to the drives. They're just sitting there available. We can just select them and add them. And just like that, we've scaled the storage of the system.
I love that you can add the node and the drives on the fly. Impressive. Very cool.
Yeah, completely automated. There's nothing you have to do here. You don't have to think about load balancing or any of that stuff. That's all taken care of for you. We didn't even need to tell anybody. No developer needed to be interrupted with, hey, they don't need to know. This is completely automatic.
Okay, Adam. Great, you added a node, some drives, and that was cool. But how far can you take this? How far can you scale it?
How far can we scale it? As far as any enterprise could ever possibly need. We can go to racks and racks, hundreds of nodes of HCI, all in the same one interface. In fact, if you're going to rack scale on this thing, it would look much more like this.
Oh, like that? You mean what's underneath that? All right,
Yeah,
can we get a stagehand to help us out with this? Did you look familiar to you? Very cool, very cool.
What just happened?
I am not sure what happened, but it was impressive.
Okay. So
let's check back in with, if you want to, check back in with the checklist here. I think you nailed the scalability question.
Okay.
So let's go to the last item. How is Stephanie going to protect her data, protect her business?
Oh, I love this one. You're right. She's got to protect that data. Now, it's great that HCI can enable a part of the business, can enable you to run like a startup. That's fantastic, and there's so many great advantages to that. But you can't be an island. You just can't. Like this cannot be this isolated data. It has to be backed up. It has to have DR. You want to get under the nice, cozy umbrella of corporate IT. You may have been like, oh, I need to move without corporate IT right now. At some point, you're going to go, wait a minute, I need them, and I need that comfort blanket there. So we're going to show how the SolidFire foundation of this and using that grade of a storage system to build out HCI once again shines because we've invested in data fabric integration in that layer,
right.
And we can leverage that here.
And I think we said last year that we were going to be adding SnapMirror in the next year. You're going to show us that, right?
Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to show you. So let me show you how this works. This is a brand new feature. It is imminent. It's not out literally as of today. But it's absolutely imminent. You'll see this very soon. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what this would look like. I'm going to go configure this is the foundation SolidFire system that HCI is built out of. The capability that was built into there for both SolidFire and HCI was we can now go configure any ONTAP endpoint. In this case, it was assigned to us. We were told, hey, here's the ONTAP endpoint that corporate IT wants you to follow this policy and connect to. So we're going to configure that endpoint. That could have been ONTAP Cloud, FAS, ONTAP Select. Any of those endpoints would be great in this. And now that that's configured, I can start protecting volumes. I can go to volume. I can choose the endpoint out of many that I have. I can create the volume it's going to replicate to right from here. I can select the required X DR policy that they want me under the umbrella of. And just like that, we now have automated DR according to company policy for our HCI system while we're running fast like a startup over here.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
So with that, what I want to point out is that in such a short amount of time, and with so little effort of even doing management tasks or anything like that, we got development up and running. But Stephanie, rightfully so, was really concerned about just setting up the infrastructure for this project, but we've moved way beyond that. We're into full-on app development and protecting this system at this point. So I think we've given her a huge boost on her challenge that was set for her.
I would agree. I think you absolutely nailed it. You got her last check item in terms of protecting the data and the business. I think you nailed it. I think on top of that, Adam, you made it look easy. Do you guys agree? All right. Well, you all get a chance to see for yourselves this technology in the exhibit hall today. I ask, go out there and find ways to build your own next generation data center. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan and Adam. So James and Stephanie are making some headway. They have pretty different problems, but you know what they both need? A solid cloud strategy. And there's one thing they have in common, and that's data. And this is the part where Eric comes in. He's a cloud architect for Capital X. Let's meet him now.
Okay, here's the deal. Our CEO and CIO have said that they want to speed up our business with a cloud-first mandate. Expectations are high. So as cloud architect, it's my job to figure out what cloud-first means for us and how to implement it. For starters, it might make sense to lift and shift some of our on-prem workloads to the cloud. But I need to figure out what's it going to take to run our enterprise workloads in the cloud. And that's not going to be nearly enough. We need to leverage the cloud to do things that would be hard to do on-prem. We want to own our data, and we don't want to own infrastructure. Now, our data scientists want to experiment with machine learning and cloud analytics. They want to tap into the vast infrastructure and emerging ecosystem of tools. And then there's our developers. They're all about the cloud. So how can I enable our DevOps teams to work across multiple cloud environments easily and consistently? So all in all, I need to move us into the cloud, leverage the unique opportunities in the cloud, and scale up our development in the cloud. If it sounds like speeding up our business is a big job, that's only because it is. So Joel, what does NetApp got for me?
It's a big job indeed. Don't worry, Eric, we've got you covered. Please welcome the Senior VP of NetApp's Cloud Business Unit, Anthony Lai.
Thanks, Joel. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. I love Eric. I love the cloud. You know, NetApp has been a pioneer building solutions for the hybrid cloud. You know, we've been building an industry-leading portfolio of data services for storage admins and increasingly for cloud architects and application developers. 4 years ago, we developed ONTAP Cloud for Amazon, now on Azure, creating hybrid cloud solutions that extend on-premise storage to the cloud. Today, all of you have cloud initiatives, and NetApp wants to help you. Today, all of you have an interest in the cloud. And NetApp's mission is to bridge you to the cloud, to enable you to consume things in the cloud. And over the last few years, we've built a very, very rich portfolio of hybrid cloud data services. A significant challenge for our customers, and something George made specific mention of yesterday, is the operation of your NFS-based workloads in the public clouds. IDC puts that number of more than 20 exabytes. And what's amazing for all of us is not only do we get to play in the traditional file-based workload market, but now we get to play in the cloud. Yesterday, I think George made a transformational announcement. It's an enormous announcement and something that I am incredibly proud to be a part of, and I thank all of you for the 25 years of NetApp. It's the NetApp intellectual property. It's the wonderful services that the company has built that has given this wonderful opportunity for us to partner with the biggest hyperscaler on the planet. And so rather than let me explain the service, I'd love you all to welcome to the stage the head of Azure Storage, Tad Brockway. Thanks, Tad.
It's great to be here.
Thank you.
Great to see you, Anthony, and great to be here with all of you as this week we talk about this first-of-its-kind service that we're working on together, where we're delivering enterprise NFS as a Microsoft Azure service. And we're doing that in partnership with NetApp. It's going to be powered by the world's most popular and powerful storage operating system. It's going to be delivered, again, integrated in with Azure. And so the UX for this service is going to become part of the Microsoft Azure UX. The CLI for this service will be part of our CLI. The APIs will show up in our SDK. There will be REST interfaces that will unlock new capabilities with ONTAP, with Azure that are unique to the cloud. And so being able to be here and take this powerful technology and then open up new possibilities and new scenarios that are unique to the cloud, this is a powerful thing that we're here to announce to all of you.
So, you know, this is the industry's best NFS. It's backed by NetApp. It's built by NetApp and run and maintained by NetApp. This is a service for NetApp customers and non-NetApp customers. We are now your storage admins. We're going to deploy and manage all the clusters. We are going to balance the workloads. We're going to do the capacity planning. We're going to manage the upgrades. And we will manage the performance and availability. Now, let's show you this service through a great use case. Please welcome to the stage Joe Caradonna.
Hey, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Anthony. It's good to be back. So you guys get to be the first ones to see the new Azure NFS service. You excited about it? Yeah, I am. All right, but first, let's go back to Eric for a moment. So Eric, the cloud architect for Capital X. You know, the guy, he's got a lot of people he needs to make happy. As his data scientists who want to use the elastic compute of the cloud, the state-of-the-art GPUs, and the emerging ecosystem of cloud analytics tools. You have the DevOps team, right? They want the agility of the cloud to be able to deploy what they want when they want it. And you have the developers. They just want streamlined workflows so they can get more done. And together, they all want to accelerate the business. So let's look at a checklist of what Eric needs to get done today. It's a piece of cake, right? So we're about to show you how NetApp can help. Starting with the first one, enterprise-class cloud storage. Where do you think we might be going with that one? So Eric has a strong relationship, capital X, with Microsoft, and Microsoft Azure is their cloud of choice. So that's where we're going to go. Let's just log right on in to the Azure portal. And what I'd like to do is bring to your attention the NetApp NFS volumes right there on the service toolbar. Yeah, no, come on. It's kind of cool. So Tad, it's right there on your front page. That's got to be kind of important to you.
That's right. And in case you haven't heard the news, Microsoft loves Linux. It's true. It was announced by our CEO fairly recently. In fact, a big chunk of the customers that are using the Azure platform today are hosting the Linux operating system on Azure Compute. In fact, 1 out of every 3 virtual machines on the Azure platform is now running a Linux distro. And so this is something that's super important to our customers. And of course, in terms of delivering NFS, which is an absolute requirement for those customers, being able to do that with the most capable and powerful NFS solution on the planet, that's what we're about in this partnership.
Awesome. All right, well, let's show you how easy it is to get that NFS. So I have a shortcut on my dashboard here. I'm just going to go ahead and select that. And here's our wizard, right? So we're just going to call this Volume 1. Yeah. We're going to export paths so you can mount it on your hosts, and different service levels for different performance in terms of IOPS and latency. So we're going to be running some analytics on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and select Premium. Really, it's NetApp. Is there any other kind? All right, we'll choose our resource group here. And location, we're going to deploy this in the West US. All right, so we'll create it. As simple as that. We just got our first NFS volume.
Awesome.
Yeah, doesn't get any easier. Okay, so let's take a look at it. We'll just head over here. We see volume 1. Just select that here. And you can see all your volume attributes. We just created this, right? So you can see your service level, and you see your export path. So you can go ahead and mount it. And of course, we just created this volume. You can see your storage usage. We're not using any yet. And now, for data management, if you look under Settings over here, you'll see that you can manage your snapshots directly from the Azure portal.
So, for me, as an application developer, this is amazing. Like, I don't have to understand ONTAP, but I can consume it. And if I can consume it, everybody in the world can now consume ONTAP. We have created liberty. Like, everybody in the world can now consume an ONTAP service without having to be a storage expert. This is just amazing, just amazing.
Yeah, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Yep. We're going to be adding more ONTAP services to Azure over time. All right, so now I want to take you guys under the hood of this thing, because there's something I want to show you. All right, so we're going to mount this volume and take a look at it. It's mounted here. Can you guys see that? How about now? Can you see that? So anyone who knows ONTAP knows that signature. That's Azure NFS, powered by ONTAP, delivering the same high availability, high performance, and high durability that you've come to expect from NetApp.
So I'm very excited about this partnership. The ability to open up the cloud for new workloads for enterprise customers in IT, I think it really will change the way that our customers and all of you think about the cloud. And so we're thankful for this partnership.
Yep, great. So, all right, we just did the first step on Eric's checklist here. We created that volume, right? Mm-hmm. Let's populate it with data. So I have my data in my data center. It's on NFS shares, and I want to copy it to the cloud. So let's go to our new NetApp Cloud portal. I'm just going to log in with my single sign-on. In here, in this portal, you can see all of our data fabric, data management tools, all in one place, all available with one sign-on. So we have Cloud Sync, ONTAP Cloud, Cloud Control, all the hits, all right? So we're gonna synchronize data. So we're gonna go ahead and use Cloud Sync. And I showed you guys this last year. Remember the Mars rover, the interplanetary network, right? And as you might imagine, we've made some improvements since then. So we have the NFS protocol, we have the S3 protocol, and we've added CIFS, and we've added support for storage grid. And now, you can transfer data from anywhere to anywhere with any combination of those protocols.
It's awesome.
Yeah. All right, so right now we're going to select NFS for our target, for our source, and NFS from our target. Okay, create the relationship. We want the host name here from our data center. We'll just plug that on in. Now I can see my directories. So we want to do analytics on the trading data. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that one. And now this is the export path of that new Azure volume that we just created. There we go. We're going to synchronize the data. And this is data synchronization. So which means if the data should change on either side, it gets reflected on the other.
So hold on, Joe. So we can now take data from anywhere directly into the Azure service?
Anywhere to anywhere to Azure, from your data center.
From other ugly storage systems? right into Azure? That's great.
That's right. All right, so we just copied our data over.
So we just showed Cloud Sync, but you know, we're bringing Snap Mirror replication to Azure NFS too.
Yep, additional ONTAP services. All right, so we created our volume. We populated it with data, and to bring those data scientists online, right, we've got to connect it to the analytics platform. So for that, let's go back to the Microsoft Azure portal. Oh, and you can see that we just copied 10 gigabytes of data, so we're using 10% of our allotted quota. And for analytics, we're going to use HD Insight, which is Microsoft's Hadoop service. So let's just go ahead and select that. Minimize this. And you can see I have a cluster already set up, so I'm just going to go select this. And now HD Insight has its own marketplace. And I need a helper app to help me out here. So let me just go into the marketplace here and add an application. OK, this is the one I'm looking for, the NetApp NFS connector. And what this allows us to do is connect an NFS share to a Hadoop cluster. So that data can be shared, served over HDFS. OK? So let's go ahead and install that. And it's super efficient. You only need one instantiation of the data. And we'll select our cluster and our volume, and there we go. We're connected. And we support the NFS connector for Hortonworks today, and we're expanding it to the cloud to include Databricks, EMR, and of course, HD Insight. So now, Eric's data scientists can get to work. We created the volume, we populated the data, we connected to the analytics platform, and they're off to go. And Eric has a lot of enterprise workloads with a lot of enterprise requirements. And we just looked at the analytics today. But with enterprise class NFS in the cloud, Eric now has new options for a wider range of workloads for cloud deployment.
So that's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. And it's our strong partnership with Microsoft that enables us to bring new and exciting benefits. It's not just about the protocol, it's about the added value services that NetApp has pioneered for 25 years. We're really, really excited to be here partnering with Microsoft.
Yeah. So the service will be in public preview sometime in early 2018. But the good news is that all of you can sign up today if you like. You can go to netapp.com/Azure Preview, and you can register and hopefully be part of this preview service in 2018.
Tad, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
We're really
Absolutely,
excited.
Anthony.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. It's just brilliant. It's just so awesome for us. So, Joe, you know, we're not done.
That's right.
A couple of things we got to do. So now let's get on to the stuff that I love just as much as NFS. As application developers, you know, I need simplicity, I need elegance, I need speed.
All right, so let's go to our next thing. We're going to go right back to our cloud portal. And I'm going to sign in. Oh, good, a memory from last time. And there's something new up here that we didn't talk about, this cloud orchestrator. This is our new cloud management platform that we'll soon be releasing as a service. So let's go take a peek at it. So here's our dashboard, where you can monitor all your cloud resources across all your clouds from a single pane of glass. And as you might expect from NetApp, one of the resources is the ability to allocate NetApp NFS cloud storage.
So all of the NFS workflows that you saw us do on Azure are orchestrated by this platform. All done under the covers.
Yeah, that's right. We're giving away all the secrets here. The other thing you'll notice on the sidebar over here, all of our cloud services are tightly integrated. Cloud Sync, ONTAP Cloud, and Cloud Control. So you wouldn't even really have to leave this portal.
So Joe, let's show them something they probably wouldn't expect from us. Let's show them some apps.
Let me show you how you can. So we showed you storage and data management, which you'd expect, right? How about applications? So let's just go here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to deploy some VMs in the cloud. And you could choose the cloud. Now, this is a cloud management platform, which means we abstracted the clouds. You can choose Azure or Google or Amazon, the cloud of your choice to deploy upon. And for this example, we're just going to mix things up a little bit. We'll choose Amazon. And we're going to deploy a web server. And all these workflows are the same, regardless of the cloud that you choose. So we're calling this Joe's web server. And I don't just want one, I want 3 of them. I'll select the availability zone, and I want it an Ubuntu operating system. And I choose the size of the VM I want. And let's go ahead and create it. And you can see we got 3 web servers spooling up right now. Right, that was easy. So next I'm going to do, I'm just going to pick one of them and just add a little more storage to it. So let me just pick the one at the top. Let's go to volumes here, add a volume, and boom. So just like that, I spun up 3 web servers, added a little more storage to one, and it's all backed by NetApp NFS. All right, so that was VMs. So let's talk about containers. So our cloud orchestrator is built on Kubernetes. We're making Kubernetes super simple to use. I mean, we're delivering this as a service to you, right? And it also makes container management first nature. So let's go ahead and deploy a container. Now, there's multiple ways you can deploy containers. You can download them directly from the Docker repo, right? Or you can use YAML. Or you could use this really handy application catalog that we have built right in. So we want to enable those developers. So I'm going to go and choose this Jenkins build server. And we're going to deploy that. And we could tweak the parameters, or we could just go with the defaults. I'm going with defaults. And there you go. So we just like that, created a Jenkins build server with this cloud management platform in the cloud.
So you can do this. And the wonderful thing is you can delegate it. So you can set up your policies, set up your applications, and then empower the application developers and the cloud architects to execute their own strategies under the control and policies that you define centrally.
That's right. Now, dynamic environments are hard to predict, right? You don't always know what kind of resources you need for your application. What's the demand going to be? Is the demand going to change? And ideally, applications would just grow and shrink automatically depending on the demand, right? Wouldn't that be cool? So what we're doing to make dealing with change simple is offering this auto-scale capability, where you could define the minimum number of instances of your app, the maximum number, and you can grow and shrink them depending on the CPU load. So let's go ahead and change some of our parameters here. I'm going to say we want a minimum of 12 instances of the app, a max of 200. And as the aggregate load increases to 75%, we'll automatically scale the app up and decrease as the load diminishes. So I'm going to go ahead and create set auto scale. And I know this can be hard to read, but I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that we only have 3 instances running now. And as soon as I enable auto scaling, it's going to automatically scale up to 12. And there we go. Automatically scaling depending on demand. So it really makes dealing with change simple. Now, we demonstrated using the GUI today because it's a lot of fun to do, right? But if you want to automate, well, you want APIs. And we got a full set of RESTful APIs for all of the operations that our Cloud Orchestrator provides. So in summary, with our Cloud Orchestrator, you can manage your data and your applications together. You can deploy a DevOps infrastructure and delegate it to your DevOps team, as well as your developers. You can develop with agile workflows and automation. You can run applications with microservice architectures. This is really a framework for building out microservice architectures in the cloud using NetApp's Cloud Orchestrator and NetApp Storage. And you can meter the usage of all your cloud resources. And you can do it all in a seamless and uniform way across Azure, Amazon, and Google. So now with that, Eric has the tools he needs to enable his DevOps team and his developers and his data scientists to harness the power of the hybrid cloud.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Thanks very much. Great demo.
All right.
Wonderful.
I'll tell you that.
So coming to NetApp has been a wonderful experience. I get to sort of use all the wonderful things that you guys have created and many of you use today. But today, I hope that we've created something new, that we've now given people the ability to support the digital transformation through basic cloud economics, that now you can move all of your existing workloads to the cloud. You can use that incremental capital with the new digital budgets to drive innovation in your organizations with data. I hope you've seen that you can now empower your cloud architects, your application developers, and your data scientists. And you can do all of that through a company-wide policy framework. So NetApp is driving and pioneering the hybrid cloud. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you, Anthony. All right, we're about half done. Sorry, it's a joke. All right, so there you have it. 3 different but interconnected approaches to taking advantage of the exciting options in IT today. James has optimized his operations with a modern data center. Stephanie has built a next-generation data center to start up a new business fast. And Eric has accelerated the capital X business by embracing the cloud opportunity. The new NetApp is leaning into these great opportunities, helping put data at the heart of the business. And the best parts of the old NetApp are still alive, simplifying complexity so that you can change the world with data. Hey, so James, Eric, and Stephanie, come on out.
Wow. Certainly feels a lot simpler, huh?
Yeah, it's a uber simple.
I can't wait to see what you have at the expo, actually.
Okay. And I can't wait to get a picture with Nito.
You might have to stand in line for that, though.
What if we say we know you?
It's not going to help.
Oh.
Right. Hey, but so where's Stephanie?
I think
I'm back here.
Oh.
Hi.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, so what's everybody waiting for? The expo's opening. Come on, follow me.
You heard her, folks. Insight Central awaits, and a full day of breakouts starts at 11. See you there.
Let's do it. We should go down the stairs.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us tonight at the Joint at the Hard Rock Hotel as we come together to support the American Red Cross, the Las Vegas Metro Police Foundation, and the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence. We'll also enjoy great food and music by Weezer. We look forward to seeing you tonight.
Little runaway, I was flying, yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me, working on a mystery, going wherever it leads, running down a dream. I felt so good, like anything was possible. Hit cruise control and rub my eyes. The last 3 days, and the rain was unstoppable. It was always cold.